Have you ever heard of the Hawaiian Kink? And no, take your head out the gutter. Located deep in the Pacific Ocean lies a series of seamounts which form a 60-degree bend found nowhere else on Earth. This chain of volcanoes is known as the Emperor Hawaiian Seamount Chain, and it is fed by the Hawaiian hotspot which forms underneath the Pacific Plate. For those curious, hotspots are volcanoes that reach the surface away from plate boundaries, which is rather unconventional, but it makes for some real hot science. I need to get better at those. Anyway, because these magmatic plumes are independent of the plate, when the plate moves over them, they will create a series of volcanoes in the form of island arcs or island chains. For example, the Hawaiian archipelago is over 2,400 kilometers long, and it contains over 80 underwater volcanoes. Now, back to our kink story. If you tossed out the ocean waters from the Pacific Plate, you'd be left with Gordon Ramsay's forehead. And this is where things get interesting. For the longest time, scientists believed that the 60-degree change in the Emperor Hawaiian Seamount Chain was actually due to a change in orientation of the Pacific Plate, which kind of makes sense when you think about it. But then they soon realized, after some digging and simulations, that this 60-degree kink wasn't related to the movement changes of the Pacific Plate, but was actually related to the mantle core boundary. And if you're wondering what the connection is between the two, let me explain. If you recall, I mentioned that hotspots form intraplate, which means they're away from plate margins. So their magma has to come from somewhere, right? Well, hotspots get their magma deep from the core mantle boundary. See, there are rocks that pile up around the edge of the core, which actually act as a catalyst to create anchored plumes, which then go all the way up to the crust, which is why they investigated the core mantle boundary. This research is rather exciting. As the saying goes, as above, so below. These findings suggest that the shape of the volcanic chain is directly related to the movement of the deep mantle core boundary, which means we can use it to track some stuff. So, here's what happened. Between 50 to 100 million years ago, the pile of rocks at the core mantle boundary dramatically moved southward, creating the Emperor Seamount. This caused the plume itself to tilt, allowing it to go downwards, and once the pile of rocks stopped moving, it became vertical again, allowing it to continue its trajectory down to where it is today, where we have Hawaii. And it's the movement of these piles at the core mantle boundary which allowed us to create that sharp kink that we see on the ocean today. That is the story of the Hawaiian kink. Now it's time to find another spot. Like, comment, share, follow, and I'll see you in the next one.